Hello everyone, my name is Teresa of Chopstick and Succulents, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to save your overwatered succulents and a few random tips in between. Let me show you this part of our garden where I grow my succulents on ledges. I took this video in early spring after we experienced 4 days of continuous rain. In fact, it rained the night prior to this that even the flowers of our cherry blossoms are still wet. I was worried that many of the succulents would be overwatered, but they were all fine, except for a few Echeverias growing on our repurposed bench. Before I show you how I spotted the overwatered succulents and saved them, let me show you a succulent species that you might be interested in growing, especially in locations where there is not enough sunlight. This succulent plant is Ionium Lillipod. It has leaves that are a little bit thicker compared to other Ioniums. The outer leaf cover is also shiny but with a felt-like texture. Over time, it forms a cluster of beautiful rosettes that look like a bouquet of green roses. Ionium Lillipod is not the species that will become colorful when exposed to the full sun, because its leaves are delicate and can quickly get scorched. This plant prefers moderate light exposure and is more beautiful when green. Being planted outdoors, the plant still receives bright light but sheltered by the shade from the cherry blossom tree. This one has already recovered from sun damage. If you've noticed, the outer leaves have brown spots. Those are sunburn marks, which they outgrow over time as they sprout new unblemished leaves. There is another one I want to show you. Check out this 3-week-old arrangement. I am surprised that this remains colorful despite being always wet for 4 days. It is probably because they are from cuttings and they are not well rooted yet. A lot of people ask me how I decide which plants to put together. When I make arrangements, I consider their water and light requirements. It is better to find out which family the plant belongs to. Those belonging to the Crassulaceae family, like the Echeverias, Crassulas, Kalanchoes, and Sedums, are good at holding water because they photosynthesize uniquely. They utilize CAM photosynthesis or Crassulacean acid metabolism, wherein the plant closes their stomata or pores during the day when it is too hot and opens them at night when it is cooler. In that way, they minimize the amount of moisture loss during photosynthesis. If you are not sure which family your succulent belongs to, check out my book, Water Me Next Week, A Succulent Split. It has more than 120 succulent plant identification and exciting things you need to know about them. I also consider their light requirements. So I avoid mixing those that won't tolerate full sun, like our lillipod, with those that need a lot of sunlight, because if you mix them, you won't make all of them happy. Now let's look at this repurposed bench. Check out this Senecio Rollianos, or string of pearls. If you noticed, half of these are plump, while the other half are wrinkly. The leaves of overwatered succulents can sometimes look wrinkly, especially when their cells are damaged. But it is good to understand what is going on with the plant. In this case here, even though this planter has been always wet, this string of pearls is actually thirsty. It is because I found out that the tip is not in contact with the soil, and it has no roots to absorb the water. So, even though the soil is constantly wet, this plant has been deprived of water. Because the tip is already calloused, I planted it back in the soil. Some of these echeverias were blooming. Often, these flowers attract pests like aphids, so I prefer to take them out when I groom them. Now, let me show you the overwatered succulents. Overwatered succulents initially would look bloated. The leaves would feel hard as it tries to expand and accommodate more water. But when the storage cells get damaged, you'll see those soft, translucent, mushy leaves. When you see this, the damage is irreversible. The good news is, if you can spot the problem early, you can still salvage some parts that are not yet damaged. Look at this Echeveria cubic frost. This one is not looking good. The bottom leaves are already damaged. Some are mushy, some are falling off easily, others have cracks. If this is left to sit here in wet soil longer, the whole plant can get damaged. So I decided to take it out and remove as much dirt as possible. Then I let it dry in a cool, dry corner. The same with this Echeveria Atlantis. The bottom leaves are showing signs of damage. They are bloated, and because I don't want the damage to progress, I also took it out and removed the soil. The top part is still okay, but the bottom leaves are damaged. I decided to take this plant out because the soil is still wet, and it will probably still be wet the next day. To let the plant continue sitting on damp soil can damage the whole plant. Here's the result after a month. The Echeveria cubic frost has new sprouts. Although most of the damaged leaves turn dry and crispy, after a month new healthy roots are present even without soil. Whatever damage did not progress further, and at the center, new leaves are growing. So guys, do not be afraid to take the overwatered succulent out from the soil and let it sit on the side unplanted, because you can save them by doing so rather than allowing it to continue absorbing the water present in the soil. The plant may look dead and hopeless, but you'll be surprised at what might grow. And guys, if you are learning a lot from my videos, I ask you to please support my YouTube channel so that I can continue creating good quality content for you. Please buy my book, Water Me Next Week, A Succulents Bee. I promise you, you'll learn a lot from that book.